everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today to talk to you again about living in isolation and how to make the best out of it. So if you haven't watched my recent video all about getting started with going running during this lockdown period, then go and check that out. I've also recently made a video about 10 productive things that you can do on a rainy day, which was almost like me sort of prophesying that something like this was going to happen. So if you want to watch that, it might give you some ideas of some things you can do if you're finding it quite sort of boring and quite lonely being at home all day and you want something to do that is productive. So the focus of today's video is going to be about how you can plan your quarantine days so that you still keep productive and you don't have that sort of feeling of the days just passing by, and it can almost feel like time has no meaning because we have no school, university, work to get up and go to. So hopefully the tips I'll share with you today will help you to find some kind of structure in the long days ahead that we have. Okay, so the first thing I'll suggest is to carry on setting your alarm and getting up in the morning, even if there's nowhere that you need to be and you in fact can't even leave the house. Just get up at a reasonable time, and similarly make sure you're going to bed at a reasonable time to allow yourself to wake up early. So I've kind of been setting my alarm for 7:45 so that at 8 I can kind of start getting up and getting ready for the day, and I've been going to bed sort of like 10:30, 11. I feel like once you've lied in, you just lose that initial motivation that you have at the start of the day because it feels like some of the day has escaped you before it's even begun. So the first tip is to set alarms and give yourself a structure, be disciplined with yourself, make yourself get up and go to bed at reasonable times. The second thing I would suggest is to make an exercise schedule. So I can actually make a whole separate video on this, and I think I might, but there was lots of exercise classes that I did before lockdown, and I would go to the gym and I'd go running. Obviously we can still go running, so that's great, but for people that kind of relied on the gym or exercise classes, it can feel like you're at a bit of a loss now of what to do. So I think it is important to try and get some kind of exercise schedule so that you're not going from being active to just doing absolutely nothing. And there are many ways you could do this. I'll make a whole other video on this, like I said, but just structure in some time for you to do maybe like a workout that's on YouTube, or make your own workout up and do it in your bedroom, or at least go out and do a walk or a run, just so that you're not sort of reversing all the positive effects you might have already got for yourself by doing the exercise before lockdown. You want to try and maintain some of your fitness and strength, or if you didn't used to be an active person, then actually this time could be kind of a blessing in disguise for you, because you will have more time than you would have done if you were going to work every day, and so you could kind of maybe experiment trying some workouts or going on some walks and runs if you wouldn't normally do that kind of thing and you're interested in doing it. Along the same lines of having an exercise schedule, if you're a student especially and you've kind of lost all the structure of going to lectures or going to your placement, whatever it is, then it's also helpful to make a kind of rough timetable for yourself. So you don't want to make this too strict because then it's going to be hard to follow it. But for example, I have a book of objectives and I've said to myself that I want to finish 2 sections of my learning objectives a week, and that just gives me a target to kind of make sure I'm staying on track and I'm keeping up with my work, and it's really satisfying then to tick off the learning objectives that I've completed once I have done them. This is because my course is now all online, so I am able to like do my own studying, which is good. I know some courses might not work in the same way, and especially like school might not work that way, but try and do something to work towards the goals that you'd set before lockdown. Try and keep working, schedule yourself in some work periods where you're going to study and some breaks so that you still like maintain that balance, like work-life balance that you had before. When you're like having your breaks and you're relaxing, do try and get outside if you can, because otherwise like it's going to get very stagnant and lethargic just to stay in all day. So try and sit in the garden if you have one, or sit on your doorstep. Go for that one walk of the day that you can, like really utilise that. We do still have that option to do one form of exercise a day, and I don't think we should let that pass us by. So do go out and do a walk if you can, or at least just stick your head out of the window and get some fresh air so that you're not completely sort of living in a cage. My next tip is that in this kind of time of a lot of uncertainty and nothing really like going on each day, I feel like meal times can be something that has remained constant. So eating your breakfast at 8 o'clock, eating your lunch at 12, eating your dinner at 6, whatever times you normally eat, then I feel like that can really help, because it gives you that sense of structure of, okay, it's morning now, it's the period between breakfast and lunch, this is what I'm going to do in that period. Now it's the afternoon, so this is what I'm going to do in that period, and then it's the evening. If you're kind of just like snacking throughout the day, or maybe like not having proper meals at proper times, that's when you're going to completely lose your sense of like time and structure. So meal times are things that can be kept constant. For those people who don't have any kind of uni work or school work to do, or maybe can't even work from home really very well, then I think it's important to find yourself a purpose and find a reason to get out of bed in the morning. You're going to feel very dissatisfied if you're not really achieving anything or you're not working towards anything. So I just think it might be worth having a little kind of project or a little challenge that you're working towards. So I mentioned some of these in my other video about the sort of 10 productive things you can do on a rainy day, but things like learning a language on an app, or just something very small that won't take up all of your time and won't be like that hard on your brain power, but will just enable you to have that little something to work towards and to achieve and accomplish each day. If you're not really into learning, then maybe something like decluttering your bedroom, or sorting out a cupboard that you've left for a long time, or like doing some gardening, something that you normally wouldn't have time for and you'd brush it aside as something that, oh, I'll do that one day in the future when I've got time. Now is when you've got time, so you might as well do something like that. And again, it gives you that sense of accomplishment, so you're not just letting the days pass you by. And finally, I think in some ways we've got to look at this time in isolation. Obviously, for those of us who are isolating and aren't out being key workers, it was kind of helpful to think of it as like, this is a time for like reflection. It's like a pause button has been pressed on all normal life and all reality. So you can actually just take this time to like reflect on like your life goals, and to relax and just kind of allow yourself to like be peaceful and restful, because life is so busy, and it's like this is the first time ever that everyone is just kind of stopping. Like, we've all just got this sort of holiday that we never were meant to have. And so as much as you can, try to enjoy it. Try to just enjoy relaxing and not having to be out at work or at uni. I know lots of people love working and love being at uni. I definitely do, and I love the structure that it gives me, but I think we can all sort of use this time to kind of like rejuvenate ourselves. And so I think in some ways this might be really important, and we might all come out of this being a lot better than we were before. So that's it for today's video. If there are any videos you want to see, then leave a comment down below. Remember to like the video and subscribe if you'd like to, and see you very soon for my next video. Hope you're enjoying your time in lockdown and staying nice and safe. Bye!